Okay.
Like,
All right. Greetings, everyone. I am just going to bring this up so that I can see that we are actually there, actually on YouTube with everyone.
Grandpa, we're going to chat.
All right. Okay, I see all your beautiful faces. All right, so we are live. We're live. We're ready to go. Okay. Greetings, everyone who has tuned in. Blessed love. This is Living in Gratitude. Okay, an online panel discussion where we are going to affirm our gratitude for our beaches. We are going to share about what healthy beaches are really like, how we can actually maintain healthy beaches and still, live with them. And we are also going to learn about the beach access laws in Jamaica, okay, which are insane, by the way, and should be changed, and then everything regulated within reason thereafter. All right, so this is a group of individuals who are presenting their thoughts, their experience, their knowledge, their ideas. Okay. Um, Earth and the Fullness is music. That's my music, and that's this channel. However, music is an experience, and I have come to understand, as we all probably do, that experience is a very powerful teacher. And indeed, life is experience. And outside of that, we have memories of our experiences. And also, we imagine our experiences. So, the best way to learn is through experience. That's what I'm trying to say. I'm an educator and specialize in early childhood. And that just basically means that you get really a lot of insight into how people learn things for the first time. So a lot of what we learn in early childhood would work really well in most colleges and universities. Anyway, we are basically creating experiences. Music is one and centered around the release of this song Gratitude that comes out tomorrow. This is another experience, this panel discussion. Um, what is happening in Jamaica right now with our beaches? Definitely, we need a deeper understanding of it. And we value our beaches so much, yet the way that they're presented a lot of the times, in ads and so on, there's either nobody there or there's a hotel. Maybe occasionally you might see a fishing beach, but as far as Jamaican people just having fun, relaxing, people buying and selling, even just the regular person on the beach interacting with the fisherman, you don't really see a lot of that in the public. But in reality, our beaches are a huge part of our culture, and if anything should become an even bigger part of our culture, in my view, because it has been proven time and time again, and it's just actual common sense that our beaches are healing spaces. Okay, they're healing spaces, and it is no secret that the world in general is in need of a lot of healing. So that we can all be our best selves and build a world that we're happy to have our children grow up in, that they can make even better. So the beach is a really big part of that even happening. We are 70% water in our body. The earth is covered by 70% water. So when we communicate with the beach, when we go there and we honor it as a presence that we are deeply connected to, undoubtedly we will find greater peace, greater insight, greater health, greater well being, inspiration, clarity of mind, you name it. So we are honoring our beaches, we're honoring the fact that we love our beaches, and we're going to learn about the issues surrounding our beaches. Okay. Big up everybody in the chat. Give thanks for being here. I hope you stick around. We have some awesome presentations. We also have a very, very awesome giveaway, okay, which is courtesy of the Sugar Loaf Beach Vibes restaurant. All right, out at Bob Marley Beach. So, Sister Kamala, you see her there on the screen. Greetings, Sister Kamala.
Greetings, everyone. Isis.
Isis. So Sister Kamala, she is a chef, okay, and beach and fish go together, okay, and you know that this would be the freshest fish because they're literally getting it from the sea and cooking it for you, okay. So lunch for two, two natural juices. I've had the natural juices; they are delicious. Okay, so we have a really, really fantastic giveaway today. So you want to stay tuned for that. And you definitely want to stay tuned to find out about our beach access laws, okay? Because believe me, the information is wow, okay? It's, yeah, you definitely want to be here for that. All right. So I want to take a moment to introduce our panel. All right. Our wonderful, wonderful panel of persons who are volunteering their time to really share this information with us today. Okay. Because Earth and the Fullness is music, not a big corporation. So just basically reaching out heart to heart to share this. However, of course, if there are people out there who want to support this movement and put some funds behind it, then definitely want to get in touch with these panelists so that the works can grow properly. This is for educational purposes. Okay, however, we can get the education, the knowledge, the awareness, and everything to go much further, all right, with greater support because that's the economy that we live in. So please don't be shy. Reach out to these panelists to see how you can support the work that they are doing because believe me, the work they're doing is basically saving our nation like every day. Okay, that's the category that they're in is people and work that is keeping Jamaica going and growing. So I want to give thanks to everyone for being here, just for being passionate about the beach, just like me. All right. So we have Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody. She is the CEO of Jamaica Environment Trust, one of the foremost, if not the premier, environmental advocacy group in Jamaica for several years now, for a couple of decades. Soon you'll get her proper bio. All right. We also have Sister Kamala Thomas, okay, entrepreneur from Bob Marley Beach, resident, okay. She is a member of one of the multi-generational families that have been living out at Bob Marley Beach, and you will get to hear more about that. We have Lanique and Nazaya from Girls Becoming in Portland. Two of our brilliant minds from Portland presenting. Yes, hi. And we have Menakem Wilmot representing from Bull Bay. Okay, and the voices of our children are so, so important. Not because they're young, they are observing what's going on around them. When they share their observations, we learn about what they're learning and see how we might need to fix up. And also, we are the work what we're doing today, they're inheriting. So it's really important to actually hear from them what they think about what is going on. So we're happy to have them here. Very intelligent children. Um, Menakem is my son. I'm not being biased. I'm just put that out there. He's very intelligent, and so are Lanika and Nazaya. Okay. All right. Moderating the chat with us today, we have Tammy Sansai, journalist and founder of Rights and Culture Media. Okay, so she's going to be monitoring the chat. So please put your questions in there, put your comments in there, be active. One part of the motivation for having this panel is educating the public. The other part is really to affirm our gratitude. We want to make a statement that, look, we love our beaches. We want to use our beaches. It's not a wilderness for anybody to just take. We want to use them. We want to find ways to collaborate with community, with developers, with whoever in such a way that is beneficial to nature, to environment, and sustainable to our culture and our livelihoods. Okay, that's what we're looking towards. So feel free to, put your questions, put your comments. All right. And yes, pay attention. So I believe we are good to go. I don't think I introduced myself. My name is Olivia Wilmot. That's my name. All right. I am the leader of Earth and the Fullness. We make music, roots music from the soul, and very much inspired by nature. Okay. Very much inspired by nature. All right. So we give thanks to the Most High. Everybody is here and we're about to begin. All right. So, first up presenting, we have Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody. Okay. And I'm going to say first that she grew up in Bull Bay. Yes, in 9 miles by beach. Okay. So we have to big up
Miles.
Bull Bay every time, of course. So that's the first thing to say. All right. So Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody, thanks so much for being here. She is the Chief Executive Officer at the Jamaica Environment Trust, where she leads its environmental advocacy program and works on projects geared towards the protection of Jamaica's natural resources and public health. She is a geographer with a BSc and a PhD from the University of the West Indies. Okay, bright girl, there's no master's between that. All right, there's no MPhil between that. It's from the bachelor's straight to the doctorate. Okay, all right, people. So listen to what she's saying. All right, her PhD was in the area of coastal geomorphology, the study of coastal processes and how it influences the coastlines. People, very qualified to speak on what we're speaking about. Okay, it's not just any environment, it's the beach. All right. And she also studied paleoclimatology, which is a study of past climate. So important. Very relevant to today also. Now, during her career over the last 12 years, she has worked on a variety of projects as an environmental scientist and climate change vulnerability specialist. All right, locally and regionally for private sector, government, and multilateral agencies. Wow. All right. So, Dr. Rodriguez Moody, she is here to share. We are very thankful. All right. And remember, please make sure you share this also with the children out there, with the students. This is an excellent opportunity to learn. Okay. So, I am going to get this screen thing ready. So, when you are ready, you can begin.
All right. Thank you so much, Olivia. The presentation is uploading, so I'll
Okay.
begin as it uploads. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. Good night. It's almost night. Thank you for having me. Like many of you here, as you've heard, I have a love for the beach. I grew up by the beach, within walking distance from the beach, and I had such a fascination for beaches and the coast, and so I ended up studying it as a postgraduate student at University of the West Indies. And today, beaches give me a sense of peace. Um, I really enjoy spending time by the beach, but I am very disturbed, as I know many of you are, when we see how they're being used and cared for or not being cared for, and how many of us are being also restricted in different ways from freely accessing our beaches and some of our best beaches. But my conversation today is really going to focus on some of the basics. I'm starting it off. Um, Not sure why that slide is cut off there, but um, right. I'm gonna,
Technology, you just work with it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, so basically, I'm gonna start us off with some basics. What's a beach? Why are they important? Some of the threats they're being faced with, and what we can do to better care for them. All right. So, you think you're seeing my screen now, right? Okay. So let's start out briefly. I mean, many of you already know this, but it's always good. I'm a geographer at heart, so it's always good to start off with making sure that everybody is at the same level in terms of context. So a beach is very simply defined as a narrow or wide strip, depending, of land that borders a body of water such as a lake or the ocean. Now, as you know, beaches can be sandy, they can be pebbly, they can be made from white sand, like many of our beaches along Jamaica's north coast, or black sand, like many of our beaches on our south coast. And the color of the sand is really determined by the source, where it comes from. Is it from our reefs? Is it from the land, from mountains? And they're constantly changing. And here is a basic beach profile. So this is really what beaches are made up of. They can change from morning till evening. They can change seasonally. So a beach never remains the same. It's what we call a dynamic. And here is, as I said, it's a basic beach profile. So you see right here, you see a back shore. That's that area that's above high tide. It's typically the driest part of your beach, and it has your dunes, it has your vegetation, and it's very important because that's where um, you'll have a lot of that extra sand being stored in case of like a storm event and so forth. Then you have the foreshore, which is the area between the high and low tides. That's the wet part of the beach. And the near shore is really where you have the waves breaking and where the water is shallow enough. And I know some of you are thinking about this, just visioning yourself on a beach and kind of walking yourself through what this beach profile looks like. So when you stand up and get hit by the waves, you're kind of in the foreshore area. When you probably sunbathe on the beach, you're in the backshore area. So, okay, we have the basics. We understand what our beach is. But why are they important, or are they important? We tend to. I think some people, I certainly don't, but I know some people might take beaches for granted, in the sense of not necessarily recognizing their importance. And beaches, especially healthy beaches, are important for several reasons. One of the main things here is that a healthy beach is very important in coastal protection. Where at a lot, 70% of Jamaica's population lives along the coast, and so actually you need a healthy beaches, healthy coastlines to protect our coastal properties from heavy storm waves, kind of acting like a buffer. Beaches they store sediment, and they also transport. They hold and release sand essentially, because remember, they're dynamic. They're always changing, and you need vegetation on the beach to do that. You can't have development locking in sand to interrupt that flow of sedimentation, because then the beach's ability to protect becomes challenged. Beaches are also a habitat for wide ranges of animals, from the ones we can see, the turtles, the birds, the crabs, to the very, very fine microorganisms that we don't see with the naked eye, but still play an important role. And of course, they're important, as Olivia mentioned earlier, for recreational relaxation, and also economic opportunities, not just from those who depend on it, in terms of have developments on it or hotels, but also fishing beaches, those vendors that have their setup there in terms of fish in soup. All of those events provide economic opportunities. And they're used for a variety of reasons, swimming, partying, playing games, commercial activities, as I mentioned, trade and tourism. Fishing is a very important commercial activity. And beaches require a few important components. So when we talk about healthy beaches, we think about sand dunes. We think about um, and sand dunes are that accumulation of sand, usually at the back of the beach, and important because that extra sand helps to buffer heavy waves that come in. I don't know for any of you that have been near to up the coast, in a hurricane, as I have, having those sand barriers there when you have the heavy waves come in before it is able to hit uh, concrete structure, for example, is very important. I remember in Hurricane Ivan, I could see the storm from where I was living with my parents at the time, and a few days before the storm, the National Works Agency had put some sand berms in front of coastal properties that were along the beach. And if it hadn't been for that action, a lot of the properties would have been completely lost and destroyed because those waves are humongous and pounding relentlessly against the coastline. So that those berms are very important. Um, for that reason, as well as they help to stabilize the beach, important ecosystem, because that's where you tend to see a lot of vegetation. And beaches need vegetation, as we see the second point here. And some of these, not every beach has mangroves, but some do, and those play an important role. Some may have sea grapes, and we may not think that those are important, but they do. Even acacia, what we commonly call maca bush, those are important. They play an important role because their roots help to trap sand, stabilize beaches. Um, Reduce the impacts of floods, absorb pollutants in some instances, for example, your mangroves, improve water quality. Mangroves also they provide an important habitat for plants and animals. And then things like seagrass. A lot of hotels and tourists they don't like the seagrass because things live in seagrass, sea urchins and so forth. But they're important because they have to stabilize the beach as well. Um, and then, for tropical beaches, your coral reefs and mangroves, important here, they are key to the survival, not just of beaches, but, literally in some instances, entire populations. So these are some key important, see some key points for things when you think about a healthy beach. These are some things that you need to have. I thought I put up this slide because I wanted to just show, and I realized it's cut off. I think it's just how it was uploaded. Um, Jamaica has approximately is a 30% characterized as sandy beach or suitable for recreational uses. Most of them, or they're commonly, it's on the north, comprised of white sandy beach, which is found at the north and west coast, and then beaches derived from, and that's from erosion of the corals and your calciferous algae. And then you have the beaches of the south and east coast, which are tend to be typically in darker color, composed of sand and pebbles that's typically brought down by the rivers from the interior of the island. And this map just kind of shows you the distribution of our beaches around the island. And as you'll probably hear more from, I think, Jabem, you have public beaches and you have private beaches, and your public beaches tend to be, um, I think we have about 85 public beaches, bathing beaches across Jamaica roughly. And then in terms of your private beaches, and public beaches are those that are designated by the government of Jamaica, which the public has right to access and use. And then you have about, and then you have your private beaches, which are those that are typically adjoining your privately owned land, and they have a license to be used by the owner. And the section of the beach that is dry sand is generally considered private, not the entire all the way down into the water. That's important to note. And we have about 58 beaches that are associated with hotels. And Jamaica is one of the few countries in the Caribbean that allows private ownership of beach property. Um, we have fishing beaches, and those are where fishers can actually pull up with their catch on their boats. And we have about 121 of those, roughly. I mean, the figure may have changed, and many of these are actually not well maintained. So I want to touch briefly on some of our threats. So set in the context of what's a beach, what's a healthy beach, what are the important roles that they play, but the problem is that on top of just having this information is one thing, but the fact is that many of our beaches are facing many different threats. We have pollution, which is affecting not just water quality, but if we talk about solid waste, so that's the actual beach itself being impacted. Then we have climate change. When we're looking at stronger hurricanes resulting in erosion, we have destruction of mangroves, we have the destruction of coral reef seagrass, sometimes related to climate change, sometimes related to um, you know hotel developments or any kind of developments that result in their removal. or sometimes even careless fishing activities. And we have development in the sense of the access, which threatens access to public beach. Um, and then again, sometimes where you do have these developments because of where they take place, and sometimes it's not just large developments, it could be small because of how they're built on the beaches. They lock in that beach, which is important for, um, what you call it, sediment movement. And let me see. So here's a picture. Um, this is about 25% to 30% of our waste ends up on our beaches. And a lot of times we tend to just throw things away, not recognizing that away is a place. And a lot of the times, the garbage, and this might be gross for some of you, but in the right hand corner, that's plastic inside of a bird. Um, and a lot of the garbage that we see on our coast is actually plastic. Plastic takes hundreds of years, up to 400 years to degrade, and is a major contributor to climate crisis that we're facing. So we have that form of pollution. This is solid waste, but we also have pollution in the sense of, like sewage and so forth, which affects the water quality. Here's a picture in terms of, this is, if anybody knows, if we're in a classroom, I'd ask anybody to show their hands. This is Negril. And, I use this picture to talk about things related to climate change as well. Warmer seas results in, or a warmer climate rather, results in higher sea levels. We have more intense storms. We have intensity variable rainfall, increased droughts, and so forth. Um, and the most significant threat to our coast is climate change, and sometimes this often leads to beach erosion. Now, beach erosion is a natural process, um, but it beaches erode when the supply of sand to the beach cannot keep up with the loss of sand to the sea. And many of you may know this picture. This is also a famous area for many Jamaicans. This is Hell Show. And we can have beach erosion related to climate change, as I mentioned, but we can also have it related to the number of human-induced factors. So when we remove sand dunes, when we remove vegetation, when we build too close to the coastline, when we build on that back shore, and we remove that, or we lock in that extra sand that we need for the movement of our beaches. Um, big hotels being built on coastline, small structures built on coastline. It can contribute to those beach erosion issues of beach erosion. Now, coral reefs are also very important. Um, they play an important role in terms of storm and flood protection, habitat, food for marine animals, medicine. They provide jobs, and approximately 50% of coral cover existed over 40 years ago in Jamaica. But today, we have less than 8% um, is live coral in Jamaica. And so the rest of it is covered in seaweed and slime. A lot of this is affected not only by storms, because they can be impacted by storms, but largely because of, related to pollution and storms. And when we have coral reefs being damaged and destroyed, it exposes our coastlines to even greater erosion. Um, our beaches become even further under threat. Again, this is an example of coastal development, which include constructions on hard structures such as your buildings, your groins, your seawalls. And again, this alters the natural movement of sediment and causes sometimes the accumulation of sand on one side and loss on another side. You have sometimes turtle nesting sites that may have been on these areas are lost or destroyed because of these developments. Jamaicans, everybody wants this magnificent view of the Caribbean Sea, and but sometimes it doesn't give serious consideration to the negative impacts of these developments. And there are development orders that do impose setback limits, and but oftentimes, they're not adhered to. So um, I don't have a lot more. I'm wrapping up now. So this is now we see the importance of beaches, the importance of them being healthy. We've seen that they're under threat. So, what are some things that we can do to better care for them? Um, you know, first of all, we need to understand why beaches or why healthy beaches are important. We need to and sometimes that means that we need to go out and educate and engage the public and communities on this. Very basic, don't leave trash on the beach, don't throw it in gullies, properly dispose, reduce the amount of garbage you throw away. It's not just about throwing garbage away, it's actually reducing their consumption, reusing, recycling if possible. If you can't reuse, if you can't reduce, then try and recycle if possible. Don't remove shells or wild marine animals from the beach. You can conduct beach cleanups. Jet does beach cleanups all the time. We don't have a monopoly on it. Feel free to go ahead. You can organize a small one with your community. Donate to local public beaches. Um, Minimize raking and trampling and driving on the beach. I think that again, we don't because we take beaches for granted. We take those healthy beaches for granted, and the fact that even the little trailing vegetation that we see on the beach, that it does play an important role. The crabs play an important role, and when we drive on them, when we have our ATVs and we drive on beaches or our cars, as sometimes we see what happens out by Palisados, they damage the beaches and they damage those important ecosystems that play an important role in protecting our beaches, and report any incidents of sand mining to the media and to NEPA. Because again, when we steal sand, and there are many incidents, we think about who would steal sand, but this is something that we see very widely happening on several occasions. Again, you're negatively impacting this particular environment that the beach is taking is being the sand is being taken from, and so it is unlikely that that beach would be able to recover, um, because of how the system of supply and demand would work. And so, um, I think that we all play an important role. We all have to play an important role in protecting our beaches. And most importantly, we need to understand that it's not just up to government, it's not just up to, different NGO groups, but as individuals, we need to take care, we need to take pride in the importance of healthy beaches and play our part in protecting our beaches. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, Dr. Rodriguez Moody. That was a really, really informative presentation. Um, that image of the two tractors building a beach out in the middle of the water was very disturbing. It's like, where is that? Who thought that was a good idea? Oh my goodness. But thank you so much. I don't know if we have any questions from our panelists for Dr. Rodriguez Moody. At the moment, we can take one question. So the big question and answer is when the presentations are finished, but I still think it's important that we intersperse. So let's have a question from the panel, please. Go ahead, Sister Kamala.
As is.
Is
Again,
it?
that was an excellent presentation, and thanks so much for enlightening us again about the beauties and how we should protect our beaches. The question I have, I was just reading the last part of your presentation, right? And you said dangers in raking and driving on the beach. So we have cabanas on the sand, so we normally go and we rake up and do a little raking. But can you, tell me the dangers, honestly, because I really need to know the dangers. I think the driving is maybe the pollution, but I want to hear from you.
Right. So this is something that like when we're doing beach cleanups, a number of the our groups, they're like, oh, this would make it so much easier if we could just rake up. But you could also be raking up and removing organisms from an important vegetation from their habitat. So, I mean, you can often tell, in terms of it's not the same as raking up a hard surface, right? So there are, you may have some vegetation on the beaches, like those small trailing vegetations that sometimes we tend to dismiss as unimportant, but they do play an important role. Where you see vegetation, you'll see likely there will be other small organisms. It's just the fact that you're likely disturbing other organisms that live there. So it's about taking care of how, if it's necessary, you have to take care in how you do it.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so ensure that we're clearing up the garbage and not getting inundated by sargassum and so on, but but not overdoing it, especially when there's a lot of vegetation right there. All right. Give thanks. I saw that Menakem had a question as well. Go ahead, Menak.
Okay, that was a lovely presentation and it was very informative. But my question is, why did you decide to get your doc get your bachelor's degree in the coastal something?
Geomorphology, coastal geomorphology.
Yeah.
To be honest, I didn't like people, meaning, you know, I was studying geography, and it's usually either human or physical geography, and I wasn't a fan of human geography. And I really enjoyed physical geography, and there are different components of physical geography, but the coastal environment, I think, because having grown up and spent a lot of time close to the beach. I mean, with every excuse we were down by the beach. I was really fascinated by beaches, and so how they worked, and so I was really interested in the movement of sand, what caused them to move. I
Hmm.
spent a lot of time in the lab, focused on types of sediments, and really took me away from people, but took me, it took me more into the mechanisms behind beaches, and I just it was just something that I found fascinating, really.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Rodriguez Moody. All right. So
From
study something that works with your personality, but is actually interesting. Okay. So that's good. I always say, living out at Bulby, where I live for 10 years and still go to very often. The beach there is a living beach. That's what I always say. This beach is a living beach. It have personality. This week it look like that. Next week it look completely different. Tomorrow it's very different. 3 years down the line, it's not there, and then
I like
tomorrow you
your
wake
use
up.
of I like your use of the word personality. I think that's we tend to use the word dynamic when we're talking about beaches, but personality is a good one.
It has
You know?
personality for
Yeah.
sure. It has personality. Yes. Okay, I see that Billy Wilmot, big up Uncle Billy, Billy Mystic is here. All right, give thanks. He's also sitting with Menakem. All right, so we're adhering to the YouTube safety policy to ensure no children are live streamed without adult supervision. He made a statement in the chat. I think everybody should check that out. I believe that one reason we've lost so much sand at Helsha is due to all the dredging of the Kingston Harbor mouth in order to accommodate larger shipping to the ports. No, I have never thought of that. It does kind of make sense that if you disturb something like a harbor, that is going to affect the lands around it, the beaches around it. Um, I'm sure there's probably even more to it, but ones can definitely look into that and research it because that's an interesting theory right there. Sounds very plausible. Um, we do want to move on to Menakem, but I see that Tammy, our moderator, has a quick question. So let's do that and then we go straight to Mena's presentation.
All right, Dr. Moody, thank you so much for that excellent presentation. Really learned a lot. What I wanted to find out quickly, you mentioned something about removal of shells from the beach, and I have to admit, every time I go to the beach, I leave it a whole heap of shells. So I would love to know what, a little bit more about that, please.
Yeah, because some organisms actually use the shells as like hermit crabs. They tend to
Yeah.
eat shells. And so if I mean I don't know if it's really possible for us to remove all the shells, but um, it's basically we have to be very mindful. It's not that we can't take a shell, because I know I'm guilty of it as well. I have kids, who goes to the beach and they want to, they want to pick up a shell and take it. But we also have to be mindful that there are other organisms that they may use that shell to protect their soft body. And when they don't have access to those shells, it makes them more vulnerable. So it's just something to be mindful of.
Okay, thank you so much.
No
That
problem.
really, I
It's,
don't
it's a
think,
balance.
yeah, I don't remove enough to cause that kind of damage. I just wanted to understand the topic behind
Right. Well, thank you. I think the questions that have been asked here are definitely questions that we all have, as people who love the beach and go there and like to keep it clean and also like to take a little souvenir. And as people who are thinking about our academic and professional futures. So, give thanks for those wonderful questions. All right. Nothing but love for this awesome panel. And for everybody who is tuned in on YouTube, give thanks for being here. Make sure you stay tuned. Our last presentation will be from Jabem explaining our beach laws, beach access laws. So definitely stick around for that. And we have the giveaway coming up as well. Having learned about our beaches, their importance, multifaceted importance, and factors affecting our beaches here, and the very, very practical things that we can do to protect them. We are now going to move into looking at our experience with the beach and affirming our gratitude for the beach. So, we have a presentation coming up from Menachem Wilmot. So he is representing Jamnesia Surf Camp, okay, our surf club there. Now, Jamnesia Surf Camp is Jamaica's home of surf, music, and creativity, committed to nurturing culture, the environment, and family. Jamnesia Surf Camp is led by Billy Mystic Wilmot, a Jamaican stalwart in music and surfing, and Claudette Wilmot, lovingly known as Miss Maggie, a social worker, university lecturer, and community servant extraordinaire. Together, they have brought great opportunities to Bull Bay, including surfing at the national level for Jamaica, right? Not just Bull Bay, but for Jamaica. Helping to facilitate the Freedom Skate Park building process, supporting music education with Alpha School of Music, and hosting the renowned live music event Jamnesia Sessions for almost 15 years. Not only do these events encourage new talent, they provide safe, family friendly, peaceful spaces for culture and community to thrive. Jamnesia has also hosted several camps for children over the years based on surfing, literacy, creative experience, and mindfulness. Jamnesia is home to Jamaica's longest running surf school with some of the most experienced instructors on the island, and the surf school has produced most of Jamaica's top surfers. And we want to say big up to all our surfers in El Salvador right now representing Jamaica. Yes. Okay, so now we have Menachem Wilmot. He is 11 years old. He has been surfing his whole life. And actually, his first wave he caught with his dad at Bob Marley Beach. Okay. And then, yes, and then the first wave that he stood up on his own, that was at Jamnesia, right? At 8 miles. So he is a Bull Bay baby. Now, he loves to surf and draw. Menachem's favorite subjects are mathematics and science. Okay, yes. So, Mena is going to be sharing about his perspective on the beach, his experience with the beach. And this is really, really, really important to hear because he grew up on the beach. So, he's going to tell you about the value in that. Okay, go ahead, Mena.
Um, well, good evening, everybody. And today I'd like to share with you my views on the the beach and how it can be used in ways that benefit everybody and the citizens of Jamaica. So the title of my presentation is The Beach, a World of Fun and Adventure. Okay, well, hello everyone. Today I want to talk to you about something that brings me immense joy and gratitude. The beach. My name is Menachem Mohamed and I'm here to share with you why I love going to the beach and why I love having access to the beach is important. It's cut off at the bottom. It's important for people like me. Next. Why I love the beach. The beach is a place I can have loads of fun. I get to build sandcastles, dig into the sand, and play beach volleyball with my friends. I can swim in the cool, refreshing water, ride the waves on a boogie board, and on top of that, I get to surf. Surfing is one of my favorite things to do in my free time when I get to go to the beach because it makes me feel like joy and I can practice my moves so one day I can surf on the professional level. The beach is like a giant playground for me where I can explore and try out new activities. So when I go to the beach and since the sand is soft, I can try to do things like acrobatics and things for my enjoyment because on the harder ground, like concrete and thing, they will hurt people if they fall. So yes, so I get to go to the beach quite often because I live quite close and I also grew up beside it, so it was like just a walking length away. And I like to kind of experience the joy of just being able to bask in the sunlight. Okay. Next slide. The beauty of nature. When I go to the beach, I'm surrounded by the beauty of nature. The soft sand beneath my feet, the sound of seagulls in the air, and the sight of the vast ocean in front of me are all incredible experiences. These experiences help to build my character because I get to observe the animals, how they act, and I can also try new stuff as I mentioned earlier. But also when I swim, I can explore different ecosystems and different parts of the ocean that I never knew that were there before. So I love to go to the beach, and it's a very beautiful place. Next slide. The beauty of nature. I love collecting seashells and discovering the fascinating creatures that live in the tide pools. So in my personal experience at Jamnesia, there used to be a large tide pool with crabs and fish and lobsters and curry fish in there. And I remember my grandma took me down there and I was eating a snack and I decided to throw one in there, right? And all the organisms reacted immediately and went to go grab it and try what it was, right? And I remember observing them and talking to my siblings, my sister mostly because she was the one there, but about how cool the animals look. And I wanted to go in there, but they advised me not to. Well, being at the beach helps me appreciate the wonders of the natural world and understand the importance of protecting our environment. So on the beach, there's some people who like to litter a lot, which is not good for the environment at all. So my grandparents and parents taught me from a young age that we have to try and be responsible and clean up for the beach, even if it's not our mess, because it could greatly affect all the ecosystems and organisms living around the area. And if that would happen, it would mess up the food chain and food supply could go bad in the area and people would not be able to make as much money and it would fall into a downward spiral. Sun, sand, and smiles. The beach is a place where I can soak up the warm sunshine and feel the gentle sea breeze on my face. It is a great way to relax and unwind. Building sandcastles with my family or playing beach games with friends brings me so much joy and laughter. The beach is a perfect setting for creating amazing memories and sharing special moments with loved ones. So on the beach, I get to spend a lot of time with my family since when I was younger, I wasn't allowed to go down to the beach by myself. So usually I'd have to wait on like my grandpa to come out with me, and like we'd go snorkeling when it was super flat. And I remember my lung capacity wasn't that big, so my grandpa, when we would paddle out, he would get to dive off the board and he'd bring up like sand and stones from the deep blue. And yes, that was a really memorable experience for me. Learning and discovery. Going to the beach is not only just about having fun. It is also an opportunity to learn and discover new things. So, like as I mentioned with the tide pools, I used to never know how most crabs looked. I just saw them dead, or a fisherman holding them from afar, or some scampering around by the gates. But when I went there, the crabs there looked completely different. Some of them were bigger, smaller, and they were in the water. And also, as I mentioned, the fish were there as well, which I rarely get to see because of how rough it is, and sometimes the amount of people that show up on the free days. I've learned about different types of shells, marine life, and how tide works. Well, so I'm a surfer, right? So if I don't understand how the tides and the currents work in a specific area, then it can make it hard for me to kind of get to catch waves and be safe out in the water. So sometimes I do not know how the current works, but when I go out there, I have to figure that out. And then when I figure that out, which can sometimes be pretty difficult, I can have a good time surfing and also get to try out new moves that wouldn't be available at other places. Exploring the beach helps me develop my curiosity, observation skills, and a love for learning about the natural world. So, as a fun fact, since science is one of my favorite subjects, I have always been fascinated with marine biology and other types of biology because I like to learn about how different organisms work, think, and reproduce and do all of the things that help them to get more diverse in the places. And like my observation and the beach sometimes, like when I would want to find like super tiny shells or something like that, when I would dig, so I'd mix up the shells with stones, so I'd have to be able to observe properly and know how like to tell them different in different areas, and if that shell is broken or if it's whole, and things like that that make it able for me to do things like that. Okay. Staying active and healthy. The beach is a fantastic place to stay active and promote a healthy lifestyle. Whether it's swimming, playing beach games, or simply running along the shoreline, the beach offers endless opportunities for physical activity. So when I was younger, me and my cousin and my sister, we liked to have races back in the day to see who could run faster along the shoreline, since the shoreline is more diverse than on the concrete areas. So usually we get to have so much fun, and since we like to go to the beach more often, then we would actually be able to stay fit and healthy more than other people. Okay. The salty ocean water and the fresh sea air are great for my overall well being and help me. I can't see the bottom part. And help me. Oh, wow. Overall well being. So, let me try. Sorry. No. Oh, well, I cannot see the bottom part. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
Go
there,
ahead, Mena.
hopefully,
It's
my.
okay.
Okay, my overall well being. So, like the fresh sea air, if I have a congested nose and the salt water, when I go in the beach, it kind of like breaks down the mucus on the source of the congestion so that I can breathe better and also be more revitalized because the salt kind of makes me feel tea, if you know what I mean. The beach. The beach is a place to spend time with family and friends. Although some beaches do not get many visitors, they are all beautiful. Most people like to go to white sand beaches because the sand does not get as hot as black sand beaches. But if chilly, the black sand can keep you warmer since they absorb heat. So, in my personal experience, like if it's a hot day and you go to a white sand beach, the sand will be cool for you, but then if it gets cloudy, then also you're going to be more chilly because the sand can't heat back up your body. And also for the beaches that don't get many more visitors, they are more secluded, so you can have like the entire beach property to yourself and be able to relax and enjoy the area more. Oh, whoops, I skipped something. Also, most white sand beaches are private, so they probably have restaurants and you will have to order there. And also, for the private beaches, you have to pay to enter. So that's just like some more money just to visit a part of Jamaica's own landscape, which you are a citizen of, which doesn't make any sense because it's our land and we're supposed to be able to live there. Uh, but on black sand beaches, you can have a barbecue with family and friends and also have good times playing around. The beach. Most of my peers do not go to the beach often due to location and schedule. Most of my friends think about going to white sand beaches, but a lot of them are expensive. Sometimes they are crowded too, because tourists they most likely would want to go to white sand beaches by the hotels and things, because those ones look quote unquote more beautiful and extravagant and more developed. But the black sand beaches, they're also like, since they're not as developed, quote unquote, they are able to like have more of the natural scenery that's not modified by actual people. Some people like me get to go to the beach often because they live close and have time to make the arrangements. Cause I grew up near the beach, thing there. When I get to go to the beach, and that's how I developed my passion for surfing because I kind of like the idea of being able to like paddle and catch waves and do cool things, and like the adrenaline rush when you find a big wave and you're gonna try a new trick on it, even when it doesn't work out, you get the adrenaline rush and you want to go again and again and again. The beach. If I could personally go to the beach more often, I'd bask in the sunlight, relax, surf, swim, and draw pictures of it, and have more fun time with family and friends. Well, I used to live by the beach, but now I moved out into town. So I only get to go to the beach on weekends now. So if I were able to go there personally, as I stated earlier, I get to have so much more fun times and relax actually more than staying in town where the air is more polluted. Okay. If more people went to the beach, it would be less secluded and quiet, as well as more garbage on the shore. But it would also mean more families get to experience memorable times with one another. So on a beach, like if it's secluded and quiet, you and your family will get to have a good time, right? But in the bigger picture, nobody else really gets to have that unique experience. They go to the other beaches like where they have all similar experiences, but sometimes it'll be different, but like different from the black sand beaches because they're less developed, like man-made. They're actually more like natural. So yeah, like you get to have different experiences rather than like sitting down on a bench with a umbrella over you and a shop over there selling drinks. On black sand beaches, you had got to bring your drinks and you can sit down, like put up some little chairs, sit on some trees, and have some fun times. Okay. Okay. If people went to the beach more often, there'd also be more beach cleanups and fun times doing so. The more beach cleanups because the more people means the more garbage. And in Jamaica, people they just think, "Oh, garbage? I don't have a garbage bag. Even if I do, I'm too lazy to go over there. Let me just throw it in the sand," which is terrible for the marine life, as I mentioned earlier. It can destroy the ecosystems, which I do not think is good for the planet. Conclusion: having access to the beach is a true blessing, and I am grateful for it. The beach provides us with fun, adventure, natural beauty, and learning experiences. It is a place where we can create wonderful memories and enjoy quality time with friends and family. So let's make the most of our beach access and cherish this amazing gift of nature. Thank you for listening to my presentation. Now it's time to grab your sunscreen, beach towels, and buckets and head out for an exciting day at the beach. Remember, the beach is waiting for us to explore, have fun, and make lasting memories. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Menakem. Oh my goodness. Okay, well, that was a wonderful presentation. You really gave us a
Excellent.
window into your world. Okay. Um, something that kept coming up in my mind as he was speaking is the more you go, the more you know. Remember, once upon a time, Jamaica had a logo, that's a slogan that said, "Once you go, you know." But with the beaches, the more you go, the more you know, because it is never ending. The experiences and the things that you can learn there. Mena, we had some questions in the chat for you. Persons were asking what made you want to surf. You had addressed that. Um, when did you start surfing? So I'm going to combine two questions. When did you start surfing, and did you have any doubts or think about quitting while you were surfing in the early stages?
Well, in the early stages of me surfing, I would have trouble catching waves on my own, so people would have to push me on the wave. So sometimes I doubt if I'd even be able to get better, but with reassuring support, I was able to make it through and be able to become the surfer I am today.
Thank you very much, Menaken. Yes, okay. At Jamnesia, we definitely been giving lots of support to our young surfers. Okay. I want to thank all. I see Menaken's classmates are here watching. So thanks so much for coming, guys. Big up. Make sure you stay because there's a lot to learn here. All right, and you can ask your questions. All right, I see another question for you, Menakem, from Ainilek Wilmot. Okay, so from Uncle Aini. What should people do to stay safe at the beach?
So stay safe, pardon? I never
To
heard
stay
the
safe
last
at the
part.
beach. What should people do to stay safe at the beach?
Well, to stay safe at the beach, most likely, I'd recommend that you get some advice from people who go to the beach more often, or let an adult scope out the area before the children go in, so that they'd know if the beach gets deep at an area, how strong the current is, if there's animals in there that are dangerous, where the animals are, and things like that. So also, some beaches they have guidelines and they tell you where certain things are and how they can hurt you, or if they're good and if you're not supposed to touch them or not.
Okay, excellent advice, Menakem. Thank you. Okay, all right, I'm gonna take another question from the chat and then invite anybody from the panel to share theirs. So this next question from the chat is, how often do jellyfish appear at the beach? It's coming from
well
Jamaica.
well most jellyfish they appear when the water is more calm, so in the days where it's not windy, they appear a lot. But also the big ones, they rarely appear unless you go really far out where there are abundantly. If you stay closer in, then they're not really there. So they kind of appear on and off, but they're not that often. Yeah.
Okay, all right, great. Okay, that was from Drummy. All right, give thanks, Drummy. All right, have to big up everybody in the chat, Yes, This we're a YouTube family right now. All right. Okay. So do we have any questions from our panelists at this time?
There's one more question from the audience, Olivia.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Um,
Okay, I see the question from Shahim. When you surf, do you fall down and get back up or just quit?
well, when I surf and I fall down, I have to get back up, or else I'm also gonna get caught in the shore break. But also, if I surf and I drop down, I don't really want to quit. I want to, before I quit, I want to at least land the trick once, or at least get to experience more time in there. Sometimes when I want to quit, I have support, and then I go back out there, and then I decide, all right, let's surf some more. So then I surf until I can't surf anymore.
Thank you, Menakem. Okay. All right. Do we have any questions from the panel?
I'm gonna reiterate a question that I've seen in the audience a few times. People are asking Mena if you did this presentation yourself because it's so odd.
Oh,
Well,
So
yes, I made this presentation all by myself, with some help from my extensive vocabulary, and also, I had some experience going to the beach, so I also had some inspiration. In some parts, like for some grammar issues, my mom would help me out for that. So thank you, mommy. Um, yeah, so I basically made it all by myself.
all
very good. Yes, I have to say, Mena, I am very impressed by your presentation. When I read it, I said, wow, you know, I was impressed. I'm really impressed. And I'm even more impressed now that you presented it and, shared your anecdotal information, your different experiences and things just to enhance your presentation. So great job. Okay. So, guys, go to the beach. All right. It will help you with your presentations, your presentations at school. All
just
right.
shout out this before we move on. Kasike, he he's here in the chat. He said wonderful presentation. Mena, I'm seeing Mama T Ital who is in Hawaii. Thank you for joining us. Um, Jessica Lewis, Simone Doctor, welcome. I saw that you guys RSVP'd. You're on track for the giveaways. Thank you to everyone who is in the chat and keeping it lively. We love that.
Yes.
So to ask your questions, remember to subscribe, hit the bell icon, follow Earth and the Fullness everywhere. We love you. Thank you.
Yes, give thanks, give thanks. All right, so wonderful, wonderful. Yes, thank you for everyone who is here right now. We are going to move into our next presentation, which is coming to us from Girls Becoming, from two students of Girls Becoming in Portland. Okay, so I'm going to just introduce them right now. All right, so here we go. This is really special now, guys. Really, really special. This program should be replicated maybe 1,000 times over across Jamaica. So let us learn about Girls Becoming. Very special. The Girls Becoming program was started by Ingrid Stewart Boivin in December of 2020. They offer free mentoring to adolescent girls from low income single parent households in East Portland. Their goal is to educate and empower these young ladies in making healthy lifestyle choices. Sessions are conducted by dedicated mentors and volunteers in a safe, nurturing, and inclusive environment. They currently have 22 mentees. Okay, excellent. Guys, you know the corporate sponsors? Put them in touch with Girls Becoming, please, because we want to strengthen their offering and we want it to grow. Okay, give thanks for your works, Girls Becoming. All right, so our presenters, Lanique Hilton, is in grade 8. Wave, wave for the people, Lanique. Beautiful, thank you. Lanique Hilton is in grade 8. Her favorite subject is geography, and as a hobby, she enjoys video editing. Okay, I tell you, this generation, they don't come for know like a simple something. All right. When I was little, I could maybe draw like a stick figure. These children now they are video editing. Okay, so don't get it twisted. All right. And then we have Nazaya Berry. Okay. I hope I'm saying the name correctly.
It's actually pronounced Nazia. Right.
Nazia.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Nazia. Okay, right. And my big girl, people mispronounce her name all the time. So my apologies. Okay, and I appreciate your correction. So Nazia Berry is 12 years old. Her favorite subject is science, and as a hobby, she loves to crochet. All right, so okay, a very timeless art there, crochet. Okay, so what I tell you, these children are very, very bright, very, very talented. So we're looking forward now to hearing from these girls from Portland about their experience with the beach. Okay, so you may go ahead.
Slide. Slide. You're going to present the slide.
Push. But I have to get it on there.
Oh, okay.
Give us 1 second, please.
No problem. So I hope everybody is enjoying the presentations. Remember to keep talking in the chat, even if it's with each other, but keep the chat active. Ask your questions, put them there. We're monitoring so that we can share them with the panelists. Okay. They put a lot of work into this, making the time for us to learn. So yeah, let's meet them halfway. And I definitely want to invite everybody to subscribe to this channel and click the bell. Yes, you heard it here first, because that's how you get the notifications. All right. And we have some amazing visuals coming out tomorrow of the beach, and we definitely want you to see them. We want you to participate by commenting with your memories of the beach, your personal gratitude for the beach and the sea. All right. I want you to see what's this beautiful place called Bull Bay really like, because let me tell you, it is amazing, and we want it to stay open and accessible to the public. All right. So while I am going to, girls be coming. How is it going there?
Give me a few seconds, okay?
Okay, I can try and upload it as well.
Yes.
Olivia, can you tell us about your single that is coming out tomorrow in the meantime?
Okay, sure. All right, guys, you don't have to worry. I have the presentation. It's uploading now. So you can just wait for that to finish processing in a second.
Okay.
Gratitude is the name of the single that's coming out tomorrow. All right. It's all about exactly what it says, gratitude. I wrote the song by the sea. If you've ever had a time when you were really struggling with something for a long time and you made a decision and you felt like it was the right one, that is the moment that I wrote that song, Gratitude. My husband, Ishak, created some visuals for it. Unbeknownst to me, he started this project of creating the visuals, and it was just visuals of Bull Bay, the water, me out in the water, which is like my happy place. And it was so amazing. So that really inspired us to take it a step further. And in reasoning with him and with Tammy, we decided that, okay, it would be good to really show this in a public way and link it to, an issue related to the beach, since I am passionate about the beach. And of course, beach access is what we are talking about right now, what we're learning about right now, because it is really under threat. And guys, you want to see the presentation at the end, because it's important that we be informed on this. If we're not informed, we won't be able to make a change. And then one day we may wake up and don't have any beach to go to, unless you have, a fat wallet. And that's not what we want. We want to be able to go to the beach and enjoy, just like what Mena was talking about, because, it's really important. It's a part of who we are. So if it's not a part of who you are, then it's need to become a part of who you are. You need to go to the beach or go to the river and see what you're missing. So these visuals, they premiere tomorrow. We're asking everybody to comment with their memories and their thoughts of gratitude for the beach to make a very clear statement that we love our beaches. Our beaches are not a wilderness. They are beautiful spaces that are part of our living culture. All right. So I'm going to bring up the presentation now for Girls Becoming. Okay. Nasia, your mommy is watching. All right. So you have the support. Yes, we love to see it. We love to see it. Thank you so much for the work that you put into this, girls, and Auntie Michelle and Auntie Ingrid who are with you right now. Thank you so, so much. All right. I'm gonna add here. Um, I hope the bottom don't cut off like what has been happening. That's not my fault. That's StreamYard. StreamYard, if you're listening, please correct that issue. All right, here we have Girls Becoming. Thank you.
Okay, so good night, everyone. As you already know, my name is Lanique and this is Nazaya, and we'll be presenting on the beach, like why do people go to the beach, benefits of going to the beach, and why people should go to the beach more. Okay, so the beach, reasons why we go to the beach.
Is it gonna allow you? This is her, here we go.
Okay. The beach is a landform found along the coast of an ocean, sea, or lake. It is a very important place for animals, plants, and humans. It is one of the most important reasons why tourists come to Jamaica. People go to the beach to relax, swim, have fun, and spend time with family and friends.
Next,
Read the question.
who's gonna take that question? You can say. Just say the question.
Most people rarely get to go to the beach because of important schedules, including school, work, etc. So they only go when they have free time. But people who make it their priority will go almost every day, especially ones who do activities such as swimming, fishing, scuba diving, and surfing.
Okay. Do you love going to the beach? Yes, I'm sure everyone does. Being near the beach, being near the ocean gives a sense of peace and tranquility with the smooth sand and gentle waves. The sea has
She's in control. Oh,
the
okay.
sea has so, the soothing ambience of the sea.
The sea has soothing ambience.
Oh, the sea has soothing ambience that nothing can beat. The beach is a perfect place to go when you want to relax and let go of your daily stress.
Even though you can go at any time, people prefer to go on occasion like summer when the sun is hot and temperatures are up, Mother's Day, Easter, and family outings.
The beach needs improvements such as access to clean water, more public bathrooms, showers, more lifeguards, first aid stations, more shaded areas, and most importantly, a better environment. We can make that possible by setting up trash cans to collect garbage.
No, most kids these days rather spend their free time at home and be on their devices than go out and enjoy the day at the beach.
The beach is full of lots of activities. Fishing, swimming, sunbathing, bird watching, kayaking, playing volleyball, shell collecting, and picking up bottles are some of the most popular activities people do when they go to the beach.
The sea has many healing properties. It helps reduce inflammation, protects and clears our skin, and heals scrapes, cuts, and sores. Listening to the sound of the sea relaxes the brain and puts it to a calm state. This will help reduce toxic stress hormones in the body.
Okay. Questions? Yeah, there's other questions up there.
Our,
Hold on a second. Miss Olivia, can you ask those three questions?
Yeah, man, I will ask the questions for
Yeah.
sure. Okay, all right. So, girls, thank you so much for this presentation that you're doing right now. Okay, I have a question that I want to ask you, but I'm gonna ask the ones that Auntie Michelle is saying I must ask you first. So, one question is, you had said in the presentation, when you answered, let me go back. Do you think your peers go to the beach enough? And you said no, right? So here's two questions that I have for you. All right. Well, why do you think that they prefer to stay inside with the device now? Answer that first and then I ask you the next one.
Maybe because the devices they think that it has more activities and it's more entertaining than going outside, and you know you can communicate with friends on WhatsApp.
Okay. But they could communicate with friends at the beach, or is it that their friends are not there either?
Um, yeah, their friends don't go to the beach, so the on WhatsApp you can communicate more faster.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, all right. So, my next question for you, I see you putting up your hand there, Mina. My next question for you then is, how do you think how do you think you could get them to go, or what would make them start to go to the beach more often, right? Because you say you don't think they go enough. So what do you think would have to happen to make your peers get to go or make them want to go more often?
Um, in Portland, most of the beaches, you have to pay to go inside. So I think if they had the money to go to the beach, they would go more often. And also, if parents would plan like a fun day at the beach, the child would want to go. You know.
Okay, all right, so the parents need to plan and make the space and make the time to go, but then also maybe we need to have easier access to the beaches, not make them so expensive. You have to pay to go in, right? Thank you for sharing that perspective. All right. Um, I do have one more question. So, if you could go to the beach more often, what would you do there? You shared that with us, right? Several things, several wonderful things. So, I wanted to ask you, what good do you think it would do for your community if people went to the beach more often? Or I think it would pretty much be the same. Like, do you think anything would be different if people went more often?
they will connect more with their families and their neighbors. And when we spend more time together, we become more accepting and supportive of one another.
Wow, Nasia. I mean, out of the mouths of babes. Okay, thank you very much for sharing that. Okay, that is very much what studies show, right? So you have some big scientists out there, studying and working and thing, and you know, this is what they're telling us. The same thing that Nazia is telling us right now. So we see that our youth are very wise, they are very smart, and they can communicate very clearly what's going on. once they are given the space to do so. All right, so we do have some questions for you now coming from the chat. But hold on, Mena, you had a question you wanted to ask us here, not on the screen anymore. It was really supposed to be you next. Then we'll take the questions from the chat. Okay? Go
Okay.
ahead, Mena.
My question was how did you get familiar with the beach around you?
Um, um, on summers, my family would go to the beach a lot since they have more free time. Yeah, so we would go to the beach, and the program, we also go to the beach a lot. So that's another opportunity I have to go to the beach.
So give thanks for girls becoming. Okay? All right. Yeah, because the children, they need to go to the beach more. We all need to go to the beach more often. I found it so interesting in the presentation. And they said that, people don't go more often because of their important schedules, like school and work. So my question is, why don't school and work have beach in the schedule? Because everything that has been said here about the benefits of the beach tells me that this is somewhere that should be a part of, it should be fit into our education system. As a matter of fact, our education should fit into our environment, into the beach. We should be going to the beach all the time to learn. People who work should get time to go to the beach and work remotely if they can, as much as possible. So big up your parents for making the time during the summer. All right. That's memories for a lifetime. So let's take now the questions from the chat. Okay, we see Ainelek Wilmot asking, what is the name of the beach that you would like to go to? Each of you, Nazia and Lani, which beach do you like to go to?
I like to go to Winifred and Sankobe. It's in Portland.
Okay.
I will. I love going to Boston Beach and Winifred Beach.
Okay, thank you. All right, Winifred is a common factor. Beautiful beach. Let me tell you, I went there and I had some fish there, and it was wow, so delicious. It's a beautiful beach. Lanik, you had said the second beach you said Sanko?
Yeah, it's near Drapers.
Near Drapers. All right, you have to tell me about that, Auntie Ingrid. I'm gonna ask you about that beach. I've never heard of it, so that sounds like we need to go. Okay, beach discovery is a worthwhile thing. All right, thanks for sharing. We have questions from Mama T Ital out of Hawaii. Right, big up native like water. All right, are there regular beach cleanups? That's one question she has. Are there regular beach cleanups in Portland?
No, not really, because when I go to the beach, most times there's a lot of garbage and seaweed and moss that wash up on the shore, and no one really cleans it. So I don't think so. No.
Okay. Sound like we need girls becoming to link with Jet. Okay, to see how they can learn about the beach cleanup program and get some equipment. Mm-hmm.
Excuse me. Also, our program, we sometimes do beach cleanups, like pick up garbage and plastics and stuff.
Bottles to recycle.
Yeah, to recycle plastics to recycle.
Wow. All right. A complete package. All right. Above and beyond. Beyond what I was even thinking, even better. So that's great. Okay. Still link up with Dr. Rodriguez Moody and see how you can, collaborate because they have an island wide um, beach cleanup effort that they support, and the data all comes together for Jamaica. So definitely connect. Yes, I love that. You're doing the beach cleanups and the recycling. Excellent. Um, okay, Mama T had asked, are there any more free beaches in Portland? Are there any more free beaches?
Um, um, the only beach I know that's free is Winifred and Long
And
Bay.
Long Bay Beach. You have Long Bay Beach.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Guys, if you know Portland, because some of you maybe from overseas, Portland is basically rivers and beaches and mountains. You can't throw a stone, and there's no you either it's gonna land in the sea, or it's gonna land in a stream, or it's going to land in a rainforest mountainside. It is a beautiful place. Lots of little bays and lots of beaches. So, to have so few free beaches is concerning, all right? Okay, we have a question here. Oh, we have a comment from Shaheem. Okay, Shaheem is one of our child attendees here. He says, I think the reason why people would prefer to stay on their device instead of going to the beach is because they are glued to their devices with games and other social media apps. Yes, they are addicting, and they're made that way on purpose. Just like how the candy at the supermarket is right by the cashier. That's why the apps have all these bright colors, and it's so hard to come off. They always find something to keep your attention. Thanks for that, Shaheem. Okay. All right. Lashawn Parks, that's Nazia's mommy, says plan a bonfire and picnic day at the beach. Okay, so she's suggesting that to one of the children here. All right. And she shared oh, and Paul Washington, who I don't think is really Paul, I think that's his dad's name. Um he said there are beaches in every country except every landlocked country. That's true. So we're fortunate because we're surrounded by water. Um Shaheem is asking, what can you do to help stop the distribution of garbage on the beach? So is there something, girls, that you think could be done to prevent the garbage from getting on the sand and all of that in the first place, like to prevent the garbage from being littered about the place?
People could probably add garbage cans so everywhere around the beach, so the garbage doesn't have to be on the floor. People can just put the garbage in the garbage can.
Can I butt in? Can I say something?
Yes, sure.
Can I say something? So what we've started doing on Winifred Beach, I know Lanique mentioned that Girls Becoming, we sometimes go out and collect bottles. We have a partnership with the Recycling Partners of Jamaica. So we collect the plastic bottles and turn them in that way. But what we've also started doing is leaving bags with some of the vendors on the beach. So their customers, instead of just chucking the things off to the side or putting the plastic in the trash, they collect those at their little stalls. And then we go down periodically and pick those bags up from them. So those are some of the things we're trying to do, and certainly want to grow that as big as possible in this area.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay, that's great. Thank you so much. All right. So plastic bottles are a big issue. Guys, if you can get a water bottle, please get a water bottle. Fill it before you leave the house and carry it with you for the day. Sometimes I go supermarket, I see people, they're just shopping for their children for snacks for the week, and they're buying crates of bottled water to last for the week. And I'm just thinking of all of that plastic. That same $1,000 that buy the crate of water that lasts 1 week can buy a water bottle that will last for the year. Okay, so definitely get yourself a water bottle if you can. All right. So thank you very much to Nazia and Lanique and Auntie Ingrid and Auntie Michelle from Girls Becoming. Love the program that you're doing there. It's so needed to have safe spaces for our girls to come together, okay, and learn and grow and develop. And they do lots of great projects. So please be in touch with them, okay, to find out more and to see how you can support. Okay. Yes, Nazia, I see you have your hand up.
Thank you for listening to our presentation. I hope you enjoyed it, and lots of people who's watching this get some very important information.
Okay.
It-
Definitely, definitely. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. Beautiful presentation, girls. Thank you so much. We definitely got a lot of information out of it. Okay. All right. So I am going to let everybody see us nice and big on the screen again.
There's
All right.
one more
Yeah.
question, Olivia.
Mm-hmm.
It says, are there any deep cleanup activities that you're aware of coming up soon that's in Portland? And if so, where and when?
Okay.
I would
Leah is asking.
include the as well.
So anybody can take that. Dr. Rodriguez Moody, are there any beach cleanup activities coming up?
Sorry about that. So the next big beach cleanup that is coming up is International Coastal Cleanup Day, and that's in September, the third Saturday in September. But there might be other groups that are doing beach cleanups, but I don't know if they advertise it and open it up for other groups to join. But Jet is planning. It probably won't just be the third weekend in the third Saturday in September. May do it split it across into 2 months, but we'll when we get closer down to the time in around July, August, we'll actually share the actual plans in terms of people coming to register and hosting. You can actually host your own cleanup and get some support from Jet, as well as you can actually join one of Jet's big cleanups as well. So you have that option.
Awesome. So how do people get in touch with Jet to find, or where can they go to get info?
Well, you can go on our website, it's at jamandtrust.org. You can contact us, or you can just go on our social media. We are on the different platforms on Facebook, Jam and Trust 1991. We are on Twitter, and if when it comes around to advertising about beach cleanups, you'll see most of that go on social media.
Okay, great. Thank you. So go follow at Jamen Trust 1991 on Instagram. Look for them on Twitter so you get all of those notifications, guys. So you can participate, get some support, plan your own beach cleanup, or join one of theirs. I know usually these beach cleanup they come up on the news. And one thing that really sets them apart, aside from the fact that you get some support in terms of equipment, is that you also keep a track of what you're collecting. So that gives us a big insight into what are the things that we need to be looking at to prevent the beach from getting messy in the first place. What are those problem areas and solving those problems ahead of time. Okay. All right. So, guys, we have two more presentations to go and the giveaway, okay, which is after the next presentation. Our next presentation coming up from Sister Kamala is going to talk about how the beach is a home for history and culture. Okay, so we've heard a lot about the recreation, okay, also the ecology, the environment, but not so much yet about the culture and the natural history. So that's Sister Kamala coming up to speak about that. And then we also have a video to share of an interview we did with Dr. Taylor from JABEM, that's the Jamaica Beach Birthright Environment Movement, okay, about the Jamaican Beach Access Law. And you want to hear that, okay? So Tammy has some shout outs to give. She's gonna give those shout outs. Then we're gonna move into Sister Kamala's presentation. All right, so go ahead, Tammy.
All right, real quick, just bigging up a few people that I saw popping into the chat. I see Mewani, big up, that's Jamaica Hummingbird kind of people represented by Kasike Kalan. Of course, Jamaica Surf Camp, very, very instrumental in this. Native Like Water, and Navid Hendricks from Trinidad and Tobago. You're far away. Thank you for joining us.
Wow, thank you.
Big up, of course, the girls becoming that was excellent, and to sustainability consultant Jessica Lewis of Here We Go Consulting. Also, don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. There's a little bell icon. Just click on that. Share the live on your status if you haven't done that yet. People can still join. The next two presentations are excellent and very instrumental. You need to know what's coming up. And there's a single coming out tomorrow by the name of Gratitude. Earth and the Fullness is the artist. That's Olivia. For those of you who don't know, she's right there on the screen. And the song is beautiful. The video will be even more beautiful. So make sure you subscribe so you don't miss that. All right, that's it.
Give thanks, give thanks. And I don't know if there would be an Earth and the Fullness the way it is right now without the beach, because Earth and the Fullness began by the sea and inspired by the sea. And out there at Jamnesia, that is so supportive of live music and just the development of our culture in a positive way. So big up Jamnesia, big up the beach, big up everybody internationally, Hawaii, Trinidad and Tobago, all over the island. Thank you so much for being here. All right. So now we have a presentation from Sister Kamala. All right. She is coming to us from Sugarloaf Beach Vibes Restaurant out at Bob Marley Beach. And, you know, Bob Marley Beach is a beach that a lot of people from St. Thomas, from Kingston, and St. Andrew go to because it's so beautiful and it is massive. It's huge and the water is just amazing. Okay, so you can go and have your own little spot, even if there's 100 people out there. You can go there and still, you know, have your own space. It's absolutely gorgeous, very inspirational, very therapeutic, especially for the community and the stressed out Kingstonians, okay, who come there to find their sanity. Again, Bob Marley Beach is one of these beaches right now that is facing some challenges from developers who would like to follow the model of exclusion. However, we are saying that we prefer development with inclusion. We want our indigenous people to be recognized, acknowledged, consulted, and to be integral to any decisions taking place because this is our home. So naturally, we should have a say in what happens here and we should be able to enjoy it along with any visitors. Okay. So,
Yeah.
introduction. Sister Kamala is the daughter of Vince Thomas and Audrey Powell. She is the sixth child of 12 people. 12, yes. So that's a lot of love. Okay, that's a lot of love in that family. Sister Kamala is the owner and chef of Sugarloaf Beach Vibes Restaurant, located at 9 Miles Bull Bay, St. Thomas, Bob Marley Beach, where she grew up. Sister Kamala completed training in hospitality and tourism and waitering at Heart Trust NTA. Sister Kamala has also worked for over 10 years in data management and collection for private agencies and government entities. While building on her brand, she's focused on helping more young people, including mentoring them to start their own business. So, as you can see, she's not just mindful of her own development and career and progress. She's thinking about the youth, she's thinking about the community. Okay. And she does have this wonderful restaurant. And as you can see, she is more than qualified. All right. Having even trained in hospitality and tourism. Our giveaway is actually from Sugarloaf Beach Vibes Restaurant, and that's coming up after Sister Kamala's presentation. All right. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Okay. All right. So, yes, Sister Kamala, I'm going to bring up your slides now. Yes? Okay, and you
Okay.
can go ahead and talk to the people. There we go. Thank you so much for being here, Sister Kamala. Go ahead.
Okay, greetings again, everyone. Thank you, Sister Olivia, for such warm welcome. My nerves is racking. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, our beaches, our history, our culture, right? I mean, as I say, we are the indigenous Rasta family living on Bob Marley Beach right now, right? And I would say in some of the ways, we said Bob Marley Beach is well, in what ways has Bob Marley Beach been a home for Jamaican history? Ooh, wow. Wait. All right. Today, what we call Bob Marley Beach was once the headquarters of today's Divine Order of Nyabingi Theocracy reign during the early 70s and 80s. Here is where Rasta would come out and develop its ritual polity of establishing island-wide Nyabingi celebration that was once circulated from parish to parish. However, the first Nyabingi residents came here in the late 60s and throughout the 70s and early 80s. This beach was a regular location for Nyabingi assemblies. During the early 70s, we had our first high priest. Ari is on the screen, right? Bongo Puro, aka Ras Aubrey Dueni, along with others elders who took up residence here due to dislocation of Rastas from Foreshore Road, Bakawal, and Akiwak by Siaga's government. During this time, my grandparents and parents came to live here on Bob Marley Beach. Just simply putting it in this way, you'd say, but I would say Bob Marley Beach holds the status of Rastafari heritage, right? As you can see on the slide, this is on Bob Marley Beach back in the days when, as I say, when Rasta would come and camp out, smoke up, Rasta thing, the old Rasta vibe. All right. So the culture at Bob Marley Beach, right? The fact that so many of our reggae pioneers found inspiration for some of the biggest hit songs, including Bob Marley, singing Natty Dread, Roots, along with others, was done right here at Bob Marley Beach. Peter Tosh, Bunny Wailer, up to this date still has a house and Bob Marley's property. And the Congos, Row Fisherman Row, Freddie McGregor, Big Ship Sailing on the Ocean was actually done on Bob Marley Beach. Members of the I Trees uses this space for recreation, even to date. Alan Skill Cole, our living legend, and his wife would come out here on a regular basis to swim, jog, play a little football. Aspiring artists would travel from all over the world just to capture the beautiful scenery, breathtaking sunsets for music videos, even movie scenes. So today, what we what we have is pure paradise on Bob Marley Beach. We appreciate it, we loved it, we take care of it. How does it support the well-being of families in the immediate and wider community currently, right? The beach creates a space for creativity. It will brings out the best in you, free from pollutions and packed with vitamins. The beach is number one stress reliever. And as you can see on the screen, that's my family there. But for some reason, I wasn't born at that time. No. Every day you can see someone jogging, swimming, fishing, or just relaxing. Living in nature is a natural therapy. So I show much gratitude and appreciation. Why should beach remains open to public and how can that be done sustainably? Going to the beach is a culture for Jamaican. Holiday time, all our beaches would be crowded. Tourists, Jamaicans alike, will visit daily to get their dose of vitamin D. At least 7 days a week, right? So at least like 5 days for the week, you'll find tourists there just spreading out on the towel, getting all that, sucking up all that vitamin D. It's amazing. All right. How can we How can that be done sustainably? Keeping the beaches open, right? For me, I would say we'd have to organize beach maintenance activities, keep the beach alive, active, clean, right? Plan activities to raise funds for development so we can, add to the bathroom facilities. I mean, facilitate more running water, stuff like those. Include other family friendly businesses in the space. So, if we have more persons coming to do the, little selling here, a little selling there, that would invite more persons. 'Cause, a beach, living on a beach, it has a lot of, opportunities. We only have two restaurants there now. So imagine a craft shop and a variety of fruits in another corner. That would draw out another set of crowd. Anyway, and unite, definitely we have to unite to keep the beach active, unite as a community, unite as a wider family, both national and international, and definitely advocate for our beach act law to be changed. We can't have those acts in these times when the beach is so important to everybody. Okay, how does it support livelihood in the community? As I mentioned earlier, Bob Marley Beach has two restaurants and location. It's an active fishing beach for fisher folks in and outside of this community. So we have fishermen from St. Thomas using the space, not necessarily 7 to 11 miles. We have persons from Olaba will come, fish in the space. All right, every year, about 80 or more acre of the land, because it's Bob Marley Beach is 200 and a little acres, right? So about 80 acres of that land comes an abundance of guineps, tambourines, and sweetsop growing in the wild. Anyone from the community would harvest for food and for sale, mostly in summertime, because we have all these fruits already normally in summer times. In what ways could the role of beach in the community be strengthened? Through reasoning, for me, through reasoning and unity. Form a nature loved group within the community. Teach our youths the benefit of a clean environment, the importance of our beaches and our natural resources. Invite persons with these knowledge to play a part. And I did, of course, use Jet, Dr. Teresa. I use you as an example. Of course, come on board and help us, you speak so well on these things. And Jabem, knowing the laws and the in and out, what we should know, what we should and should not do. So as I mentioned before, thank you so much for having me. I think that's the conclusion of my presentation. But the slides, they're going so fast. But Sister Olivia, I would explain a little on these slides.
Okay,
Just a
okay,
little.
okay. Yes.
All right. So here we have, if you put it all together, the foods that you seen is showing here. All this is catch and Bob Marley beans. These are the catch and Bob Marley beans. These are the produce at the back of our yard. These watermelons, we are like so many of them growing. Even now we have watermelon growing. Gungo same way. And look out in summer coming, we're gonna have a lot of guineps. Same way. Tamarind and sweet stuff. So living in nature for me, I'm blessed to say I was grew up on the beach side, free from all pollutions. And we're endorsing tonight, visit the beach, take care of our beaches. The beaches need us and we need the beach. Thank you so much for this moment.
Okay,
Wow.
thank you very much, Sister Kamala. All right. I don't know if you want to speak to this slide.
Yes, definitely. Let me. Thank you so much. All right, this is right behind where we lived. We can actually walk from our house to these ponds. We have these two ponds. Isn't there's wildlife in it, but there's no crocodile. We have like fishes and so. Would feed them time to time. We would carry a little feed for them. Visit them now and then. You know, we love nature. and you see the shoreline there. So it's practically near the shoreline. So we're asking ones and ones to let us protect this space. Let's protect Bob Marley Beach for future generations.
Yes, definitely. Let us do that. Um, such a precious place. Thanks so much for sharing all of that history. The songs that were written there, the culture that grew there, literally grew there. This is a part of what it means to be Jamaican, and our connection with Bob Marley Beach as citizens of Jamaica, as children of this land, is very, very deep, very, very strong. Um, I want to say give thanks to you guys for preserving it, taking care of it, and also keeping it open. It's a place where you can go and be free and relax, and you know, there's no weird vibes, no bad vibes, no, like you can go on a Monday at 4 o'clock
Any day.
and be safe and enjoy the water. And they have the shop there, so you can get some refreshments if you like. On the weekend, the restaurant is open. So it's a lovely, lovely place, a treasure for our heritage, and it should be preserved and protected. Yes.
And let me
Okay.
say this, Sister Olivia. Sorry, let me just say one thing. I
Go
mean,
ahead.
I always be getting phone calls as how much to enter the beach, you know. And it's
Mm-hmm.
good to know that we have it free, and I want to keep it like that, We want to keep
Yes.
it free for Jamaicans. I mean, it's expensive to go down. I mean, on the North Coast to just go to a regular beach where we should be enjoying. So we want to keep
Yeah,
it
yeah.
free.
I mean, I hardly even go to, Ocho Rios or North Coast. Well, St. Anne mostly, but because I don't know where I can actually go. I don't know where I can actually go there, and that is really where I went a lot as a child. But now, not really so sure where to go unless you have 20, $30,000 that you can spend for the day. Then
Wow.
anyway, so that can be corrected, though. All those things can be corrected, and everybody can be happy. So let's look in that direction, please. And definitely love up Bob Marley Beach. Guys, if you haven't been, you need to go there. It's magical and special. All right. And I want to thank the community of Bob Marley Beach, also the families there, because Bob Marley Beach, we decided to feature it in the video for gratitude, which premieres tomorrow as well, because we are levigating the energy of this release to our gratitude for our beaches and supporting our use and access to these beaches. So Bob Marley Beach is in the video, and it is, let me tell you, when you see it, you will understand. We have a couple questions here. One is from Peta Linton. Hey, Peta. Okay. Where can we find a list of all free beaches across the island? Emphasis on the
Jabim.
free with like four E's. Where can we find a list of that? Dr. Rodriguez Moody?
I don't know. I mean, you have public beaches. We have, I think, on Big Upper Beach. That's Jamaica. One of Jet's websites. I think we have a list of public beaches. I don't think all public beaches are necessarily free because if they're run by, like, say, UDC, you do have an entry fee. NEPA also is supposed to have something about public beaches, but again, that doesn't necessarily mean they're free. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Well, you know what? We want to make a special big up to the communities that maintain beaches and don't charge the public, because the idea is that the public has to be charged, but there are other ways of working things out. And I have to say, Miss Sandra James, who was to present today but was unable to present today, she is a beach manager for Duncan's Bay Beach, and they have a citizens association that operates their beach. It's right beside, there's a gated community, and then there's a beach park which is open and free for everyone. And just through positive and respectful community engagement, they have managed to keep this beautiful, beautiful beach. It's a white sand beach now, in Trelawney, free to the public and clean. Okay, clean and safe. So big up to everybody in Duncan's Bay, Trelawney. Big up to Winifred, who has been, really setting the example in terms of community management for the beach. When you go, you can give us strength. However, it's not required. Okay, you can go and just relax and enjoy yourself. Yes, so give thanks to the communities that are finding that way. Definitely Bob Marley Beach. I know Bob Marley Beach is out here saving lives. Okay, when I was living in Bull Bay, trust me, it's not one morning I wake up and look out and look over Kingston, and there's literally a big brown cloud hanging over the city, and it's like maybe 7 o'clock in the morning, but just the pollution. So we really need to have our safe, clean spaces to go to. All right, too much asthma affecting the children. They need the sea, they need the clean air. All right, I see Aishak Wilmot. That's my hobby. Hey, babes. He's saying that's where I went to one of my first bingy as a little youth. And so we see Bob Marley Beach preserving our culture, upholding our culture. So important to our identity. Can't just stick a Rasta logo on something and it have meaning. No. There is more to it than that. It's a lived experience of our people. All right. Um, After today, I see a question here. Is this being recorded? Can people watch it after today? It will be up on this YouTube for, I'm not sure how long I will keep it up, at least a month. We will have it up. Also, if you had RSVP'd, I have your email address. So I'll be sending you links from Jet and also Jabem so that you can, be up on your beach knowledge. Okay, I see a comment here that says Bob Marley Beach means a lot to me. It's such a beautiful, powerful, and important space. That's where I relieve stress and do my ceremonies, my release rituals, my prayers, and so on. Very important space. Okay, as I say, it's massive. So you can find a place there. Okay, Tammy, so now it's time for our giveaway. So I have two more things to do today. We have the giveaway. All right. And we also have Jabem, the interview from Jabem. You want to get your notebook out for that. Okay. Because really eye-opening information. So, Sister Tammy. Tammy?
Yes, I'm here. I was just writing a comment in the chat.
Oh, okay, no problem. I'm trying to figure out how to remove this slide from off of the screen.
Okay, I am about to.
Here we go,
I'm gonna
everybody.
take up everybody's name in the hand. And
Could you turn on your video?
yeah, I'm not finished folding the names yet, so that is the hold up.
Oh, okay. And if you can just come a little closer to the mic, because it's a little hard to hear you.
All right, I'm not really sure how I'm gonna pull that one off, but I will attempt to do so.
Okay.
I might have to like press my face on the computer.
Use your nose. My other son, Mikhail, said, no, my daughter. Said, I can just use my nose to unlock the phone, mommy.
Use your nose.
Because I was doing something with my hands. I asked her to wait, please.
I'm actually going to try that. I've never thought about that. So I'm gonna. So I am not sure if all of the people who RSVP'd are actually on to know whether or not they won the giveaway. But we're gonna put you in here anyway since you signed up. You might have to post it on your social media, Olivia, to say
Okay.
who won.
Yeah.
So that they can know if they are not actually here. All right. So
got my pen and my paper.
So, hold on. So what I've done is I put everybody's name on a paper. There are lots of papers. And I'm going to shake them up.
Where's the big blue barrel?
It's the
with the handle.
it's the Emperor's New Barrel.
Okay.
So we're gonna take it out. Drum roll, drum roll, drum roll. Right, one more. We'll turn it the next way. All right, one dropout, so that must be our winner. And the winner is Tamoy Singh. Tamoy Singh is the winner of.
Okay, yay. All right, Tamoy, sing. Okay, so you are the winner. Not sure if you're still logged in. Might be doing bedtime routines right now with your young ones. But big up Tamoy Singh. Tamoy is one of Jamaica's environmental advocates. You know, she's still working in that space, doing big things. Okay, and yeah, I met her. I spoke with her about this event a couple of weeks ago, and she was very, very positive and supportive. Okay, so wonderful, wonderful. All right, so now we are going to have our interview with Dr. Taylor, Dr. Devon Taylor. Okay, just give me 1 minute. Okay, and I think that we can probably have one more giveaway at the end as well. Tammy, I'm going to message you about that. All right. Oh, thank you, Menakem. We have to acknowledge Girls Becoming, they had to go. They messaged us and told us, and I knew already that they would probably have to leave early because, you know, it's dark and they have to get home. They're at the Girls Becoming Center, and each girl doesn't necessarily live very close to it. So, you know, Auntie Michelle and Auntie Ingrid are going to get each girl home safely. So I want to big them up, thank them for presenting. It was excellent. And their responses to the questions were really thoughtful and informative. And I would say, you know, very wise beyond their years, according to mainstream education. Okay, but we know that children are very smart. So now we are going to share the interview that we have with Dr. Taylor. This is very important information that you want to not just be familiar with, you want to kind of know it inside out, right? Okay, because this has to do with our rights. And we all know that two things. We know that the beach policy review, that process is about to come to a close, and the policy is about to be tabled in Parliament. They're going to be looking at it. So it's not like they don't know where the acts are or what the things are, okay? We need to know so we can speak up. All right, so that's one thing. And the other thing, we know that we're looking at becoming a republic, constitutional reform. There's so many things that are happening, okay, that affect our identity as Jamaicans and our rights as citizens and residents of Jamaica. So we really need to be informed so we can speak from an informed place, all right, that has more power to it for sure, right? So you can make more meaningful contributions to the discussion, all right? And hopefully we get the positive change. So, Dr. Devon K. Taylor, he is a senior research and drug discovery scientist in immunology. Dr. Taylor has an extensive research background in autoimmunity and inflammation and is currently developing medicines in immuno-oncology to treat cancer. He is a graduate of the University of the West Indies and City University of New York with postgraduate training from the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine. All right. So these panelists, let me tell you, you want to listen to what they have to say, okay? They've never just take up no fly by night. All right. They've really studied. Dr. Taylor hails from Steertown, St. Anne, a coastal town on the northern coast of Jamaica. He is a social, economic, and environmental justice advocate with interest in community deconstruction, rising wealth inequality, land rights, and the exclusion of vulnerable people from economically valuable and environmentally critical infrastructure projects. He is a fierce advocate for the right of nature status for beach ecosystems, seas, and rivers as environmental tools to protect nature. You can go look that up. Okay. Right of nature status. Okay. And what that means. He is a founding member of the non-profit environmental movement Jamaica Beach Birthright Environmental Movement, JABEM, which is an equal rights and justice platform that seeks to undo and replace discriminatory beach access, land, and use of the sea policies that are targeted against the Jamaican people. Using community educational advocacy, legal tools, and the advancement of rights of nature status for beach and river ecosystems, Jabem is uplifting a new era in the protection of vulnerable people and environmental preservation. Okay, so very important. We need to have these discussions so that we can move forward. All right, so I'm gonna get this thing ready. The share screen. Okay, and I am going to ask persons to tell me if they can see this. Can everybody see this? Yeah? Okay, all right. I see it here happening. Okay, very good. We're going to begin. I'm going to play for a little and you tell me if you can hear. All right. Good evening. Did everybody hear that? Just give me a thumbs up or something and nod your head. Yeah, okay, great. Thank you. All right. Here we go. Dr. Taylor, thank you so much for being a part of this panel discussion and all the work that you and your team at JABEM are doing on the ground in so many ways to help make things better for Jamaicans with regard to beach access. Welcome.
Thank you. Great to be here. Looking forward to a good conversation with your team and the audience.
Yes. Okay, great. All right. So let us jump straight to it. What rights do Jamaicans have to the beach? Do we have any rights to the beach?
Well, so the first thing we need to put into perspective is what the law says. What is the legislation that really governs the coastal space in a Jamaican's oceans or Jamaican sea? And, the Beach Control Act of 1956, which JABEMs deem a discriminatory legislation. And if, folks have time to take a look at the legislation, they will see that, it is discriminatory. So in that legislation, it basically really clearly stated that no one has rights in or over the foreshore, except for the, passing over it for navigation. And that wording was translated by, the administrations, successive administrations, and also by the National Environmental Protection Agency, and to means that no one have a right to bathe in the sea, no one have the right to walk along the shore, no one have the right to fish. So the legislation, and if you highlight the first slide that I share with the team, that slide will put into perspective, what a synopsis of the law says. You have a all-powerful minister who is the head of that legislation, and then the act breaks the usership of the foreshore into three components: beachfront landowners, fisher folks, and ordinary Jamaicans.
Okay.
In that legislation, there is pretty much no rights for the fisher folks, no rights for the ordinary Jamaican, but there's an entitlement if you own beachfront property that you have right to use that space before your beachfront property.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what the law says. There are some nuances in the laws which we think those are like a phase out positions where it relates to fisher folks. It says that fisher folks who have been using a beach for before the law came into being, which is in 1956, then those fisher folks have the right to continue to use that beach space. So what
Okay.
we do know is that most of those fisher folks, who have been using the space before 1956 are old. They're 84, 74. They're in those ages. So where that some of these rights can be transferred to successive generation, you have to go into the courts to prove such. We could
Okay.
talk about the the prescription act, which is another legislation that will allow ones to protect their rights based upon 20-year usage. But again, these are things that you have to go into the courts to prove. So
Okay.
the Beach Control Act is basically a document that gives you no general rights of access. Your rights are customary. Your
Mm-hmm.
rights are based up on you being able to go into the court to prove your consider those rights.
Okay.
And
But I
then
know I've sorry, go ahead.
no, and then there is rights by permission, where
Okay.
a public beach is charging you to go there. Then you, based upon permission, because you pay a fee, then you have a right to use that. And government, do have some public beaches, but that is also the government giving you permission to use it. When we speak about
Mm,
general rights, we're talking about you do not need the permission from the
right.
government, from a private landowner. Those rights are built in, just as all the right to life, is.
Mm-hmm.
We're talking about inalienable rights that you are born with, because since the beginning of time, we have been using beaches. So these should be the right to life, the right to liberty, the right to happiness, the right to leisure. All those rights that are enshrined in different provisions by the United Nations. This is where beaches are, right? It is one of the the access to the world. The world, the planet is over 71% water. All right, that
Yes.
means most of the world, most of the planet is water. So therefore, when you restrict rights, then you restrict people's access to the world. So we
Mm.
really have no general rights, and that is an issue.
I know that I've heard it said that there's something to say, well, you can walk along between the water and the high water mark or something like that, but that's
Well,
always
well,
changing and I don't know
yeah.
what the law is there.
What the law said is that the foreshore is vested in the crown. That means the crown owns
Okay.
it, and that we're talking about the crown estate, which is
Mm-hmm.
it's confusing, but it's owned by the crown, the King of England. And there is that high water mark, where it says from that point, the wet sandy area out into the floor of the sea is owned by the crown. And then when you hit the dry sandy area, that is kind of uh, it's a tricky space, because sometimes the people's borderline based upon where their land title is comes up to that sandy line. Sometimes it does not. So that
Mm.
backshore area is really can be private property. So all the
Okay.
crown owns is the wet sand, that high water mark out into the sea. But the government is in the business of leasing these areas, and you lease them and people lose access. So
Mm-hmm.
the law does not
Okay.
allow for lateral movement, meaning moving, up and down the shore. It doesn't allow for that. There's
Okay.
no right written in there. So we have some fundamental issue, and some fundamental changes are needed.
Mm-hmm. Thank you. Thank you very much for clarifying that. So, like today, in the lived experience of ordinary Jamaicans, like how much access do we have remaining? Has it always been the same? Like, have we always pretty much had the same level of access, or is there a lessening in the amount of beaches that we can go to? Is it increasing? That would be nice.
No, I mean, Jamaica is 493 miles around the island. And they're only somewhere about 2.8 miles of access.
Mm-hmm.
Of that 2.8 miles of access, there's also
Wow.
some tourism interest in there. So we don't have access to most of the coastline of Jamaica. Has that always been like that? In law, it has always been like that, but in actuality, it has not always been like that. But what is changing it is because there's a massive expansion in the tourism industry. So most of those properties and most of those beaches that Jamaicans used to use and enjoy are now, developed for tourism. So hotels
Mm-hmm.
are on those, so we're losing those access. So between 2020 and 2023, there's been, I think, somewhere about 1,000 fold increase in tourism development along the coastal space. So there's been massive loss in access to the space. And
Wow.
that is the problem because the product does not allow for Jamaicans to traverse those lands and to use the sea. So we are losing access because the model of tourism that Jamaica practice is one
Mm-hmm.
of exclusion. It is almost like an apartheid model where you are excluded from the foreshore and you could only access it by paying. And of course, we know Jamaicans of low socioeconomic status cannot afford these things. You have to buy a day pass or check into the hotel to use it. You can't.
Yeah.
And then there
Even if you don't, even if you're not low socioeconomic status, it can be quite challenging. Like
yeah, it is.
a
So
lot.
we're losing the access because of the model of tourism. It's gotten less, I mean. So of that 493 miles, only 2.8, and that is dwindling.
Wow.
And that's an issue. So yeah, it's the law has been around since 1956 that allow for this to happen. So
Mm-hmm.
while they were not, it was not at this level. It's the level of exclusion and displacement is growing.
Right. Well, those figures are a lot worse than I thought they were going to be. But thank you for sharing, and I hope that we all realize how dire the situation really is, and how important it is to take notice and to speak up when we can, and also support groups who are, doing the work to help make sure that, these things can change for the better, so that we have holistic development, holistic, sustainable development for our country. So the next question that I have now, that situation with this level of rights that Jamaican citizens have, is that what it's like all across the board, like in the Caribbean? Is everywhere like this with this very exclusionary type of model, these laws that say they don't have any rights?
No, Jamaica is Jamaica is an anomaly. It's like a outlier. All right.
Oh.
You look across the Caribbean, you don't see this model practice. I mean, in Barbados, the coastal space around Barbados is a park, is a national park. We are hoping that we could get there as one of the options that is, Javier is
Mm-hmm.
advocating for. So, you don't see that in St. Lucia, St. Vincent's, it's not in Cayman, it's not in Bahamas, it's not in Aruba, it's definitely not in Cuba. So
Mm-hmm.
most of the Caribbean islands allow for free unfettered access to their beaches for their
Mm-hmm.
citizens. So we are an outlier in the way we do it. I mean, in the Western, in Mexico actually, which if you may want to look at a country that may have similar level of violence as Jamaica. Because I know there's an argument that because of crime we can't open the space up, but Mexico policy is very pro citizens. They have a
Mm-hmm.
coastal federal coastal zone that allow people to have free access and easement that leads to their shore. And
Mm.
Mexicans take people to court if they block access, if hotels block access, Mexican dig them down. So I mean, we are really the country in the Caribbean that stands out, that does not do proactive easement for access to the foreshore of its
Wow.
citizens. It's,
Wow.
it's it's
Wow.
pretty bad.
It's very bad because, where we live is so beautiful. We need to be able to access it. We need to be able to access it. Um, so is there a way that, I mean, it kind of touched a little bit on some ways that things could be done differently, but is there a way that our laws and policies could be improved, like realistically, to allow for Jamaicans to have more access to the beach?
Yes, and that's what we're advocating for. fundamental rights. This is about it is a rights case. All right. And for rights case, you don't really need justification. You don't know if people's rights is violated, and so you need to give them their rights because that is part of your dignity, your humanity.
Yes.
So it is a rights case, and we're pushing for the legislation to be repealed and replaced because the legislation does not fundamentally does not afford that right to the citizens. All right. So if you put up that second slide that I shared, right, it's just capturing that legislation about the rights, to the beach and the rights to fishing. And what we are looking at here, we are seeing that our Jamaican beachgoer do not have the rights to cross over land. So beach access is land rights, and land rights, is beach access. And so
Right.
we cannot cross over that greenery there, which is that land, to get to the back shore to enter the foreshore. And that is
Okay.
because of the Beach Control Act of 56. While as you can see, the landowner right next to it have all that right to do so. And then, of course, the tourist comes in, enjoy, and just like the landowner, all those rights. And what
Right.
we want, what we're envisioning for Jamaica, is a right that allows Jamaicans to traverse lands to get to their beach for bathing, swimming, fishing, to walk
Yes.
along for all the leisures. And so that is it. We want that law, the Beach Control Act of 1956, to be abolished and to be replaced by a progressive legislation that will
Right.
afford Jamaican right of access to use accessing the beach, to use the sea for all that Jamaicans want to use it for. And
Right.
that
And as
legislation,
they're sorry, go ahead.
no, that legislation change is necessary and would like that to be a reality in this generation.
And as they're moving into making Jamaica a republic and changing our constitution and all of these things, these are things that should be given some serious consideration. What are our rights? How does that manifest in our lived experience? you know um what is really afforded to us. And I agree that access to nature, that is a fundamental human right, for sure. But
Absolutely.
I mean, I know you said, like, okay, rights don't need any justification, right? Because it has to do with your dignity as a human. And for sure, it's not dignifying to feel like you can't even enjoy, your birthplace, or you have to gym screechy just to go to the beach, just to go and swim for a little. But is there like a benefit, or what are the benefits to allowing, you know, Jamaicans, ordinary Jamaicans, to have access to the beach? Because they've been doing things differently. Is there a benefit to the change, different from, separate and apart from our dignity and our rights? Is there a benefit to the nation?
Absolutely. I mean, listen, leisure is recognized as a right. I mean, as a right to leisure is where you unwind. All right.
Yes.
So the benefit it provides is what green spaces provide. What the psychologists are telling us, what the sociologists are telling us, is that these things tend to calm down the spirit. It is therapeutic. So that means it
Yes.
has a health benefit to it. So, I mean, these are just fundamental reasons why. We use these spaces for religious practices, for baptisms, I mean, Rastafari community use it as a meditative space to become one with nature. I mean, so that is very important too. Then there's the economics of the space where we go there, we harvest shells, we make different kind of jewelries, I mean, we harvest, different kinds of seaweeds, we use them to make, different potions. The space is also very critical for food security. Fisher folk use that, I mean, to feed their families. So those things are very, very important. We also,
Right.
I mean, think about the broader economic as far as, what like, let's say, jet ski, windsurfing, I mean, all these, I mean, I mean, your family is involved in windsurfing. I mean, as
Surfing, yes.
brought that to Jamaica, so that's developing as an international sport. So therefore we need to broaden access, for other Jamaicans to really get involved with these things. And of course,
Yes.
we don't want the space to be monopolized by special interests. So other folks need to use it for commerce. To sell their goods. You go to the beach,
Mm-hmm.
get your different kinds of foods that you want. So it is an economic space, it's an
Right.
environmental space, it's a space for leisure, it's a space for therapy, it's a space for spirituality. So there are so many benefits loaded into this space. And then
Yes.
most critical of all is that it is a space for wildlife. Okay, this is what we ask for these spaces to have personhood status. That the turtles that uses, the birds that uses, all the other creatures that uses this space needs to be
Mm-hmm.
protected in this space. So from a conservation perspective, there are beaches that we don't think anyone should be using because of their importance in the ecology, of
Right.
the nation. So
Right.
fundamentally, that environmental piece is the most important because we're having a
Mm-hmm.
massive loss in biodiversity on the planet, and we don't want that to continue. So
Right.
therefore, we need to stay more around conservation than around development. And by not having our youths, being exposed to this space, then our youths will not really truly understand how important this is for the
Right.
survivability of our people.
Exactly.
So these
Exactly.
are all wrapped up inside, why this space is so important to the soul of the nation. And
Yes.
I just like to close here by saying that, we are the descendant of enslaved Africans.
Mm-hmm.
All right. The bodies of our ancestors were landed on these shores. Okay, in civil. Now that's a space now that we know, is controlled, and the importance of our nation. This is a heritage space. The entire coastal space of Jamaica is an heritage space,
Yes.
important in the story of chattel slavery that brought onto this island by the Spaniards and by the British. And so we need to have access to it all to continue that, so we do not forget to remember what this signify in the history of our people. And so
Mm-hmm.
we are asking for a repeal and a replacement of the Beach Control Act of 1956 with legislations, okay, that is constitutionally enshrines that Jamaicans have general and unfettered rights of access to the foreshore.
Right.
It is
Yes.
our right. It is our birthright.
And there are ways to, regulate to regulate commercial activities so that the ecology is respected and all of these things, there's ways to do it. So I agree that it should be done. It's definitely something can't just always take the path that seems the easiest, but is really detrimental. It's really detrimental. So I'm just looking at our diminishing beach access and our expanding crime problem. You know, the way that we educate our youth by keeping them indoors all the time instead of having them out in nature, out learning how to swim, learning about our ecology, all of these things. And in that same way that they're learning almost unlimited in nature, it's also therapeutic as well. So we can have youths growing up who, feel better about themselves. They're more well adjusted. They know how to deal with their emotions, all of these kind of things, looking long term, we should be looking at increasing beach access and not, restricting it for the sake of a short term gain or a gain that is actually a loss when you compare it, so I want to thank you so much for everything that you've shared here today. Very clear, very concise. I hope that the wider public, especially our students, will, listen, be inspired to make their voices heard, to learn more about the issues, to learn what they can do, so that our policymakers will realize that, okay, they need to give this thing some serious consideration and get to working, get to action on improving it and moving more in a progressive way, in a progressive direction, not trying to hold on to the past, and then blaming us for holding on to the past, at the same time. It's kind of crazy, but we want progress in Jamaica. We want a happy, healthy, free Jamaica. And so that means that our land and our access to it, to our beaches, our healing features, the healing rivers, the healing streams, we need to have that as well. And we can work out all the little details. We can work them out. So thank you very much.
Yeah, before I go, I just want to ask ones to, to
Mhm.
reach out to us, our
Yes.
website, jabeb.org. Follow us on our, our Instagram page, Jabem,
Yes.
our Twitter page, Facebook page. Come join us. Join us on this mission for change. I mean, that's what we're about. It's going to be a difficult struggle because the powers to be are not going to give up this control. But with your participation, with your dedication, just remember that we are in a struggle of this generation, the transferring of the wealth of the ecological wealth of the country to special interests. And so this is about your survival and about your future. So get involved with what Jabem is doing out there. Join us, visit our website, follow
Yes.
us, and just share this story. Thank you.
Yes, definitely visit the website information there, right? So you can really learn and get in touch with Jabem, support their movement. It's our movement. So get involved. Definitely get involved. All right. Give
Okay.
thanks, Dr.
All
Taylor.
right.
Okay.
Cool. Take care. Yeah. Bye.
Blessed love.
Olivia, you're muted.
Okay, and as long as there will be Zooms and StreamYard and whatever, there will be people speaking while the mic is muted. Okay, it's just a natural law of technology. All right, so one can go to Jabem website, jabbem.org, and follow them on Instagram at Jabem. All right, so I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Okay, subscribe to this channel and click the bell. We have the visuals coming out tomorrow. We have a show next week with a Taino gratitude ceremony out by Jamnesia on the beach. Sister Kamala, hope you can come. Right, hope to see you there. And then after the ceremony, we will have a live performance of Earth and the Fullness in the garden by the beach gate. Entry is $1,000. Children 12 and under are free. We have sip, we have natural juice on sale. We have beautiful lighting, the sea right there. Family settings. It starts at 5:30 in the evening, so it's nice and early. Kids can get back home, go sleep, and wake up a morning time. So this panel, I have to thank you guys so much for being here. Our little children are no longer on board. They are preparing for bed and doing what children should do at 8:51 on a Thursday night. I want to thank Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody for giving such an awesome presentation. So concise. I mean, I just want everybody to, when this finish, just pull it up again and go to the beginning and watch Dr. Rodriguez Moody's presentation. So clear, so concise, and lots of valuable information. So gratitude to you. Thank you for staying until this time also, as you have your little ones to put to bed. I want to thank Sister Kamala Thomas from Bob Marley Beach for coming and sharing this rich, deep, beautiful cultural history of Bob Marley Beach that is so crucial to everything we identify as Jamaican and being Jamaican and indigenous to Jamaica, Jamaican culture, brand Jamaica. It's Bob Marley Beach authentically, and they want to keep it available to us. And I think that is just beautiful. And that's the kind of mindset that we need going forward, where we have community, development, and nature hand in hand. All right, that is the way forward. That's the way that makes the most sense. Okay, and that is the long term vision, because that's what bring the sustainable reward. All right, I want to thank Girls Becoming and Jamisha Surf Camp, and the children who presented, Lanique, Nazia, and Menakem. Thank you so much for what you have shared. Enough thanks to everybody who has tuned in. Everybody commenting in the chat. Mama T, I see you. You are blazing up the chat there with your ideas, right? About how we can, get this issue out there some more. It really is crazy that what the law says right now. It's a relatively new law, just pre-independence and extremely colonial. So we need to move in another direction now, right? We don't want to swap one king for another. If this is the condition, we want to see that our laws and our ways forward are supporting the people um, in a sustainable way. So we have to listen to each other, we have to learn. If my beautiful fellow panelists don't have anything that I want to say, I don't know if I want to tell the people them good night, tell them hopefully contact you, any little thing like that.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for organizing this amazing event. And of course, if anybody wants to get in touch with Jet to learn any more information, feel free. We're on all the different social media. You can check us out on jamandtrust.org as well. I don't know the phone number off the top of my head, terrible memory. But you can also give us a call.
Thank you. Sister Kamala?
Okay, thanks again for inviting me. And this truly was an amazing discussion, listening to everyone and what they had to say. And this is really a new experience for me, so understand. And as I keep emphasizing, like everybody else, please visit the beaches, keep them clean, come out and visit Bob Marley Beach, although I've never been here before. It's a nice, clean, family-friendly space. So come out and enjoy, de-stress.
Yes.
Yeah, man,
We
blessings.
couldn't tell that this was new for you, Sister Kamala. Your presentation was
Oh,
excellent. It was
oh, thank
excellent and
you.
very rich. Yes. And
Thank
one time
you.
was not just beach out at Bob Marley Beach, Sister Kamala has a restaurant, so please go and check it out. You can get your ital
Oh,
and you
well,
can
yes, of
also get your
course.
fish. Yes, and natural juice
Yes.
and all these things. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, man. So
Yeah, man,
definitely.
definitely.
Mm-hmm.
All right,
All right.
cool. All right.
So good night to everyone. Blessed love to you all. Remember, subscribe, click the bell if you haven't already. The video comes out tomorrow. I want everybody to comment with their memories and their thoughts of gratitude for the beach on that video, to make that statement that, hey, we love our beaches. We know they're there. We would like to keep going and we want to go more often. So we're affirming that gratitude. Okay, we're affirming that gratitude. Blessed love to everyone in the chat who has logged in. Blessed love to everybody tuned in right now when it's after the live. And enough love to Dr. Teresa Rodriguez Moody. Enough love to Sister Kamala Thomas. And blessed love to everybody out at Bob Marley Beach, the whole community. We give thanks. Will be bless up Jamaica. One love. Yes, native like water. We see you, Mama T. We give thanks, man. Native Like Water went out to Bob Marley Beach, did a beautiful tour led by Sister Kamala on the history out there. So, if you would like to do a tour, you can link Sister Kamala about that to make the appropriate arrangements. Okay, and as I say, make sure you can contact these panelists so you can support their work and support their movements. All right, I'm gonna be quiet now. Blessed love, everyone. Good night and give thanks. Gratitude. Give thanks to Tammy, our moderator. Oh my goodness. Tammy, can we see you, please? Want to give thanks to Sister Tammy for monitoring the chat, talking with everybody in the chat, keeping me abreast of the comments and the questions. Yes. Give thanks for your presence and your assistance and good vibes. Okay. Now we are covered. Yes. Blessed love and good night, everyone.